This next project I'm going to talk about is actually the opposite in terms of signage. They were all about it. This was at a school where a pre-K through 12 wanted to do a what they called a permaculture orchard. So they had already heard of the word permaculture. They actually had a high school class that was called sustainability, and they learned about permaculture there. And so they were looking for a site to do the permaculture orchard. And we ended up finding this kind of abandoned big hillside and working with them to identify sun, find the nearest water source, and then had a buddy of mine do this design. And now, this was our very first year actually in business, and the same with that restaurant. And so I was kind of working with friends who had more design skills to produce something that looked pretty enough for me to submit to them. And then over the years, I hired people with more professional design skills, and then kind of got some actual design skills myself to be able to create presentations. But this was these were two linear food forests. So this was right out of like some of the permaculture stuff I was learning, or had learned, and we had done the same kind of thing at Earth Dance, with rows of fruit trees and understory herbaceous perennials and fruiting shrubs.
Yeah.
So we kind of did the whole berm and swale thing because this was a suitable site for that, not too steep of a slope. And we went in, tilled up the swale. And then from there, once we had the swale tilled up, we were able to make a really nice berm, and we set it a little bit off contour, and we could see that all the water was coming across the landscape and eventually leaving the end of the berm, where you can see in the bottom left hand of the picture.
Yep.
Put down drip irrigation. In this case, we ended up putting down landscape fabric, which is something we almost never do. But these school environments where the weeds are so it's very hard, in my experience, to find schools who will really put in the effort early on to get plants established.
Right.
So we ended up going with the landscape fabric here. We ended up marking every single plant in the design with a flag. And then when I brought the plants, the students were able to just match the plants with the flag and then pull the flag.
Oh, great.
So that was a helpful way for the kids to be able to plant every plant.
Right.
And then put mulch on everything. We ended up actually finding out that the strawberries, which were a big part of this design, they just rooted very happily into the mulch, and they were incredibly productive. So it kind of, went on. We're 6 years into this one now, and it's been we ended up pulling.
You have a guest.
We funded a community garden in British Columbia. We've funded hempcrete building in Alberta. We've funded street-side gardens in Orlando, Florida, a teaching garden in Guatemala, films for introducing permaculture. We've funded a pond in Oregon that rehydrated an entire watershed, forested watershed. Made a film about it. That film's been seen by 300,000 people. Those are just small grant projects.
Yep.
And we'll do more of those. We'll keep doing that. Why? We want to cultivate talent. We think that people with permaculture talent should be rewarded because it's so relatively rare and yet easily achieved. It takes time and experience, but there's some people doing wonderful, wonderful work. We don't even know all their names. We want to call them out. We want to put them up and say, shine the light on these people. Their ideas are brilliant. They're gonna be the revolution in design that's gonna save the planet. That's why I think Planet deserves your support.
Yeah, look at this signage that they put up. I was super pumped about this.
Yeah.
Because you can see they've got a whole sign. What is permaculture? They had a beautiful sign, capturing and moving water using berms and swales. I mean, they just nailed it. What we've planted and why. And they talk about things like supporting pollinators and resisting insect pests. So this was,
wow.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Insane strawberry harvests. They ended up, we probably planted like 50 strawberry plants. It wasn't
Yeah,
that
that's
many
that's not a
plants.
ton. Yeah.
But of course they run and they spread, and they filled in the early spaces so well. I don't know if you can see in the bottom left, in the bottom kind of middle picture,
Yep.
how it just became a ground cover, and it overtook a lot of the other plants that we planted, and it ended up being fine because a lot of the plants are so robust. I mean, you could look at if you look at these berms, like it's not just strawberries. There's tons of
Yeah.
lemon balm and sage and
Yeah.
um, lots of monardas and garlic chives that went everywhere, and so this has really been a an experience that has brought me a lot of satisfaction. The real highlight came when 2 years ago I went for the first time, and the American persimmon trees, which were then 5 years old, um, were just loaded with, these were grafted American persimmons with big, beautiful fruit that,
Yeah.
you can see in the right hand picture, and they got loads of fruit. And then even this last year, it's been even more. And so that's just the kind of thing that gets me super pumped, because the kids are out there harvesting the persimmons off the ground and learning about all this stuff. So that was,
Well, that's so cool, man. And I love that it's linked with the kids, and it's like whoever the teacher is, they seem to be committed to this being part of the ongoing curriculum, is to go out there and observe, but also harvest. Cause that is one of the things, like, you kind of want to be involved in these landscapes. You don't want to just set them there and then like nobody ever touches them again, you know?
yep, that happens so often. And we've been a part of other ones that kind of didn't have as great of an outcome as this one. But this one, this school has done such a great job integrating it into curriculum. They have a sustainability part of the high school curriculum, so they really are able to integrate it, and that is obviously what is so key for long-term success.
It's been completely transformative. I mean, I went from thinking about business and the world in a certain way, and kind of overnight, it's just the permaculture goggles get on you. And for some reason, it very quickly came to me how I could make a difference